What's going on, guys? This is a new series I'm starting called FTA, Fight Tips and Advice. I'm going to be giving you guys, my point of view as a promoter, um, advice and tips for the fight game. A lot of them will relate, to everyday life too, obviously. Everything is translatable. But I wanted to start the series off by talking about Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez. And Oscar De La Hoya, please don't do it. Please do not fight Canelo Alvarez. Now, a lot of you might be asking, why am I even talking about that? Well, I opened up, Google. And if you look for boxing news, that's one of the first thing that comes up. Is Oscar De La Hoya is looking to make a comeback, right? He's looking to make a comeback. And I don't know if the writer is reading this into the article or if De La Hoya is trying to imply this to get some sort of attention. But he's talking about Canelo Alvarez in a comeback fight. And it's not, really De La Hoya saying that he's going to fight Canelo Alvarez, but it was, I believe, the interviewer or the writer saying, would you fight Canelo in a comeback fight? And I think De La Hoya's response is, I don't know. I'm crazy, but not that crazy. But I never back down from a challenge, yada, yada, yada. In the fight game especially, man, you need to surround yourself, and this applies to business and everything else. You need to surround yourself with people that have your best interest at heart, right? They say you can't mix business and pleasure, right? I disagree with that, I think a relationship's a relationship. I might be a minority in that. And my point in saying that is you need to surround yourself with people that have your interest at heart. And I say that because if you are one of the people surrounding De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, right? You're one of his advisors, you're a matchmaker, whatever it is that you are, I would imagine if he runs that by you, you're going to tell him, hey, man, you look like shit in your last fight. That was many years ago. You haven't gotten any younger. You're not in better shape than you were back then, right? Sit your ass down. That's the kind of person you need on your team, not just in the fight game. That's the kind of person you need in life on your team. Someone to tell you, sit your ass down, bro. That's not for you, and there are going to be situations where that person's wrong, right? There are going to be situations where that person's wrong, but you got to look at the circumstances, If you're like De La Hoya, you've been out the game for years. You got out the game because in your last fight you looked famished and you basically quit on your stool, I believe is what happened, against a guy that's way smaller in Manny Pacquiao than Canelo Alvarez. I mean, if you haven't come to the conclusion on your own that coming back into the fight game, to fight an absolute monster like Canelo Alvarez, who just moved up to the light heavyweight division and knocked out cold a light heavyweight champion that's been campaigning at light heavyweight for like a decade plus, and Sergey Crusher Kovalev. If you can't make the determination for yourself that that's not a good idea, it's not even a good idea to even mention or talk about, then you need a real evaluation. You need an intervention. I think you need an intervention. And you need some real dudes. Some real dudes or some real gals, whatever, on your team to step up and to tell you, nah, bro, that's not for you. That's not for you. But, I guess De La Hoya doesn't have that, man. I guess De La Hoya doesn't have that. We've been seeing some concerning things, I think, in the past few years coming from, De La Hoya, Golden Boy. Obviously I wish them the best because they're a boxing promotion and, you don't want the sport to die. I mean, if they go under or something happens to them, it's greatly damaging to the sport. But we've been hearing concerning things from that side for years. From drug allegations to, complaints from fighters, including most recently Ryan Garcia, fighters not being unhappy in their situations. I've heard rumors of Canelo being unhappy. And I feel like an Oscar De La Hoya comeback fight against Canelo, even the mentioning of it, right? Even the mentioning of it is a bit degrading towards the relationship between De La Hoya and Canelo, and between the relationship, or to the relationship between Canelo and Golden Boy Promotions. It's not a good look, man. It's not a good look, So I don't know what's going through his mind, man. I don't know if he's serious. I don't know if they're looking for clickbait or they're looking for attention, because times are tough right now in the situation, since, a lot of people can't put on fights or whatnot. I mean, apparently they're still, looks like they're still down to pay Callum Smith $5 million to fight Canelo Alvarez. But I mean, is this a call for attention? Is this a desperation move to get a fight with Canelo and make some money, as the article implies, in order to, save a promotional company that can't put on shows right now? What is this? You know what I mean? What is this right now? It's wild to me, man. It's wild to me. Soler, thank you for joining. He says, not sure Oscar would win that even in his prime. Soler, I appreciate you joining. I don't think Oscar would win that fight in his prime. I don't. I think Canelo is too big, too strong at this point. I think if Canelo and Oscar were to fight at any point, again, we're talking about a Canelo that banged out Sergey Kovalev at light heavyweight. I think if that fight happens, De La Hoya gets crushed. De La Hoya gets crushed, knocked out violently, in violent fashion. Because I would imagine that Canelo Alvarez would be pretty insulted if Oscar De La Hoya came out of retirement to fight him, considering he's one of his fighters, basically, under his promotional banner, under Golden Boy. I would imagine Canelo would be pretty insulted if De La Hoya came out to fight him, and would probably want to teach Oscar De La Hoya a lesson, especially considering what seems to be a bit of a history of bad blood between the two. I feel like their relationship has already kind of been soured at times. I think the situation with Ryan Garcia amplifies that, considering that Ryan Garcia is training with Canelo's coach and Canelo's team. I would imagine that would have an influence. But those are my thoughts on that. And what I think is, again, the moral of the story, if you will, you better have somebody on your team, man. You better have somebody on your team to tell you the truth about yourself. You know, you can't just have people gassing you up all the time. You know what I mean? You can't just have people gassing you up, bunch of yes men around you. You know, we've seen this in boxing a couple times. You know what I mean? We've seen this in boxing. You know, another situation that comes to mind real quick is the whole Deontay Wilder situation, right? You're going to take the Tyson Fury rematch right away? Why would you do that? I think the only reason you do that is because you got a bunch of yes men around you gassing you up, right? Gassing you up, making you feel like that's a good idea, like you're invincible, like what happened last time was a fluke, instead of telling you the truth about yourself, that, you know, you probably need to work on some things. You probably, you know, need to take a couple fights in the interim. You shouldn't just go right back into it. But for whatever reason, you know, I think a lot of fighters are more comfortable with being in a relationship where they're hearing what they want to hear and they feel like it's building their confidence, as opposed to hearing what they have to hear. You know what I mean? Hearing what they have to hear, which is more important. Constructive criticism is always going to be better than some bullshit advice that doesn't mean shit. That's a false narrative for you to sort of build your confidence. And I think that's what's going on right now. And that's really unfortunate. Shrimp Dick. Well, first off, Soler says, I put money on Canelo. I agree with you, Soler. And Shrimp Dick says, Oscar challenged? Question mark? Well, if you know, like I said before, if you open up the news or if you Google boxing news, you know, one of the first articles that pops up right now is Oscar De La Hoya. He's been considering a comeback fight. That's what we've been talking about. The article alludes to him potentially taking on Canelo Alvarez, which I think is suicidal. And I think is actually very damaging to his relationship with Canelo, his business. Even though maybe he'll get, you know, some good money for the fight. Maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe he's looking to cash out and get rid of Golden Boy Promotions if he's actually thinking about this. Who knows, man? Who knows where his head's at? You know, I don't even know if he really wants to fight Canelo or if it's the article that's kind of reading it into what Oscar's saying and thinking and implying it for him. But yeah, I think, again, it's absolutely crucial. It's absolutely crucial that you have people on your team in life, right, that tell you about yourself and tell you, hey, bro, tell you what's best for you, and tell you, hey, bro, sit your ass down. This is not for you. This is not for you. This is a bad idea. This is going to kill your business. If I was around De La Hoya, listen, I'm the type of guy, I don't even need to be your friend, bro, to tell you what you need to hear. I don't even need to be your friend. I'll tell you what you need to hear because I'm a good dude. You know, because I care about my fellow man. Right? And I don't want to see someone go out like that. And I don't want to see the boxing industry or a major player in the boxing industry get destroyed like that. So I'd be like, hey, Oscar, this is not good for you, bro. This is not good for you. Even talking about challenging Canelo is not a good look. It puts a strain on the relationship unless Canelo's 100%, involved in the whole marketing ploy. You know what I mean? Assuming it's a marketing ploy. Even bringing Canelo up is a bad look. A promoter that wants to fight his fighter? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. By the way, if you haven't already, get your FightersRep gear in the links in the description below. Anything you donate to the channel or purchase through the channel. We also have FightersRep masks. Anything you donate or purchase through the channel is reinvested right back into the promotion. We are the only pro licensed kickboxing promotion in the entire state of California, as far as I know. At least the only active one, that's for sure. There are a couple of Muay Thai promotions, I think, or maybe one, but nobody that does kickboxing. I think it's the most exciting rule set. I think if you guys go on the channel, you can watch our fights for free, and I think you'll agree with me. Dope rule set, no grappling, no clinching. It's like boxing with kicks and knees. The guys just stand up and bang it out. So definitely, support the cause, help me build the fight game. I'd really appreciate it. And also tune in every Monday at 7 for Keeping It Clean with Manny Robles, our podcast with the great boxing trainer Manny Robles. And tune in on Fridays as well at 7. It's always at 7, where we air interviews with some of the biggest and best fight personalities in the game, especially people that have fought for us, or our coaches that send us fighters and stuff like that. And we'll be doing this FTA fight tips and advice, on the days where we don't have something like that. Let me see what's going on in here. Some of you guys are saying some stuff, but he said he wouldn't, says Guttermouth Jenkins. I feel like boxing is becoming more of a gimmick these days. I think you might be right about that, Guttermouth. Solaire says, I could see Oscar going for a Tyson fight, but Canelo would murder Oscar first round. Haha, I posted that right after your comment about boxing being a gimmick. Guttermouth. I'm having a baby right now. Girlfriend's water broke. Haha, you guys have a great rest of your day. Good luck to you, Solaire. I appreciate that, man. Congrats to you if that's the truth. Guttermouth says congrats too. For sure, man. Congrats. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation. We're gonna have a ton of content on the channel every day, pretty much. I'm gonna be posting a little something for you guys. Maybe we'll go live like this, and the days we have interviews, fights, or whatever else, you'll see that. As of right now, we can do fights in the state of California officially, but they would be without an audience. So I'm still trying to gauge whether it's even worth it to do an entirely pay-per-view fight. And I also have to sit down with the California State Athletic Commission, who I requested a meeting from, to see if it would be worth it, because I need the details. But anyway, that's it, guys. Listen, get somebody on your team. Get somebody on your team that tells you like it is, man. Get someone real on the team that tells you, hey, stupid, don't do that. And that's worth a million times more than somebody that's going to tell you, yeah, go ahead and do what you're thinking to do, especially in a situation like this where it's completely outrageous. But anyway, knuckleheads, that's all I got. Much love to you guys. Be sure to tune in. I'll be going live almost every day doing this kind of thing. Guttermouth Jenkins, before I go, says, with the Paul brothers, the circus of promoting fights, Mayweather vs. Conor, and everyone and their mother making a comeback, it seems like it's becoming the WWE. Yeah, I mean, it looks like people are just trying to make money, and I think during these times right now, especially where there's not a lot of money being made, people are getting desperate and doing stupid shit. So hopefully they get over it. But anyway, I'll probably do this again tomorrow and the days where we don't have a project. Typically, Monday and Friday, we have the show with Manny and an interview on Fridays, but Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and the rest of the days, we can go live and talk about the fight game. Fight tips and advice, baby. Oscar, don't do it. See you guys later.